Welcome, my ladies of inestimable value. The nail that sticks out always gets hammered. But what happens when the nail doesn't care about the hammer? That's the story of the Sigma. In a world where fitting in feels like a survival skill, Sigmas are the outliers, the ones who refuse to bend, bow, or blend. And that makes them irresistible targets for envy, control, and criticism. Here's a fact to chew on. Nearly 80% of conflicts arise not because of what someone does, but because of how they make others feel. Sigmas, they make people feel uneasy. Why? Because their independence, mystery, and refusal to play by society's rules don't just stand out, they call the entire game into question. Think about it. A person who thrives in silence, succeeds without a cheer squad, and doesn't flinch under pressure? That's not just intimidating, it's a walking challenge to the status quo. And the world hates challenges almost as much as it hates people who don't need it. Let's dive into why Sigmas seem to have a target on their backs, and spoiler alert, it's not because they're doing anything wrong, they're just too good at being them. Number 1. They operate without permission. Sigmas don't wait for permission to live their lives, and that terrifies people who rely on validation to feel secure. They operate in a realm where approval doesn't matter, and this autonomy feels like rebellion to those who have spent their lives following unwritten rules. Most people are conditioned to ask, is this okay? Will they like me? Do I fit in? But Sigmas? They skip the script altogether. They see no point in waiting for someone else to tell them what they're allowed to do. This mindset rattles those who measure success by how well they're received. To a Sigma, life isn't about following the crowd. It's about creating their own path, even if no one else is walking it. They pursue goals that matter to them without stopping to explain themselves. That kind of freedom, that level of self-trust, can feel like a slap in the face to those who are trapped in cycles of hesitation or dependency. What's even more frustrating is that Sigmas aren't trying to rebel for attention. They simply don't care about the usual social dynamics. While others are busy analyzing what's appropriate or acceptable, Sigmas have already made their move. Their decisiveness exposes how much time and energy others waste worrying about judgment. This relentless independence isn't just admired, it's feared. It's a direct challenge to the idea that success must be granted or approved by others. For those who rely on validation to feel accomplished, a Sigma's self-sufficiency feels like an insult. But the truth is simple. Sigmas aren't ignoring the rules to be difficult. They've just realized they never needed the rules in the first place. And nothing irritates rule followers more than someone who doesn't even acknowledge the game exists. Number 2, they don't care about revenge. Sigmas are wired differently when it comes to conflict. While most people are quick to plan their grand comeback or get stuck obsessing over how to win, Sigmas take the high road, but not out of nobility. They simply don't see the point. To them, revenge is just wasted energy, a petty cycle that traps both parties in a battle of egos. And Sigmas have far better things to do than play those games. Their refusal to retaliate doesn't mean they're pushovers or that they let offenses slide. No, they take note. They remember. But instead of acting on the offense, they redirect their focus toward growth, goals, or anything that actually benefits them. Why sink to someone's level when you can rise above it? That's the Sigma philosophy in a nutshell. This drives conflict-hungry individuals insane. People who thrive on drama and emotional reactions expect Sigmas to engage, to lash out, to feed the fire. But when a Sigma calmly walks away, it's like pulling the rug out from under them. The lack of a reaction is more frustrating than any revenge could ever be because it robs the instigator of control. They don't get the satisfaction of seeing the Sigma hurt or rattled. And here's the twist. By not engaging, Sigmas often come out on top without even trying. Their silence speaks louder than any revenge plot ever could. It says, I'm not giving you the power to disturb me. For those desperate to provoke, it's a hard pill to swallow. In the end, Sigmas win by refusing to play, leaving their adversaries stewing in their own bitterness while the Sigma moves on, unbothered and thriving. Number 3, their values can't be bought. Sigmas live by a code, and that code is non-negotiable. They have an internal compass that refuses to be swayed by shiny offers, shortcuts, or peer pressure. While others might sell out their values for a moment of convenience or a taste of success, Sigmas stand firm. This unwavering integrity isn't just rare. It's inconvenient for people who thrive on bending the rules. For those who are used to operating in the gray, a Sigma's steadfastness can feel like a direct insult. They're the kind of people who will walk away from lucrative deals if it means compromising their beliefs. That terrifies and frustrates others who can't comprehend why anyone would willingly give up an opportunity for something as abstract as ethics. To them, Sigmas are a constant reminder that it's possible to succeed without cutting corners, and that's a truth they don't want to face. What really annoys people is how Sigmas make it look easy. They're not loud about their values, they don't preach or judge, they simply live them. And in doing so, they hold up a mirror to everyone around them. People who have built their lives on shortcuts and compromises see their reflection and realize they've traded integrity for comfort. Instead of owning up to it, they project their frustration onto the Sigma, labeling them as stubborn or difficult. But Sigmas don't flinch. They'd rather lose an opportunity than lose themselves. This refusal to sell out makes them untouchable in a world where so many are willing to trade their soul for a quick win. That's not just annoying, it's infuriating for those who can't understand the power of living by principles that money or convenience can't buy. Number 4, their independence threatens control freaks. Sigmas are a nightmare for control freaks. Why? Because they don't play by the rules of dependency. Most people can be nudged, manipulated, or guilt-tripped into compliance because they need something: validation, approval, resources, or even emotional support. But Sigmas, they don't need anyone. Their self-reliance is like a shield, and for someone who thrives on control, that's the ultimate frustration. Control freaks thrive on making others orbit around them. They feed off being needed, wanted, or indispensable. But Sigmas don't orbit anyone. They chart their own course, and they don't ask for directions along the way. This level of independence isn't just intimidating, it feels like a personal rejection to a controlling personality. After all, how do you control someone who doesn't seek your advice, approval, or help? You don't, and that's what drives them crazy. To make matters worse, Sigmas aren't combative about their independence. They don't loudly declare their autonomy or shove it in anyone's face. They just live it. And that quiet confidence makes control freaks even more desperate to assert themselves. They try harder to control the Sigma, throwing guilt trips, creating drama, or even trying to undermine them. But none of it works because Sigmas are unshakable. What's truly infuriating for the control-obsessed is that Sigmas don't just survive without them. They thrive. They're proof that independence is power, and that terrifies anyone whose identity revolves around being the one others depend on. For a control freak, a Sigma is more than just a challenge. They're a living reminder that true strength lies in being untouchable, unbothered, and completely free. And that's a truth they simply can't handle. Number 5, they're mysterious, and that scares people. Sigmas are a mystery wrapped in an enigma, and for many people that's unsettling. In a world where oversharing is practically a currency and people spill their every thought for validation, Sigmas do the exact opposite. They guard their inner world with the precision of a vault, sharing only what's necessary and keeping their true intentions hidden from prying eyes. This ambiguity doesn't just confuse people, it unnerves them. Most people are uncomfortable with what they can't figure out. They crave clarity and predictability because it gives them a sense of control. But with Sigmas, there are no easy answers. Their calm, reserved nature is like an unsolvable riddle, and their refusal to explain themselves leaves others feeling powerless. This mysteriousness forces people to fill in the blanks with their own assumptions. And let's face it, those assumptions are rarely flattering. What's even more frustrating is that Sigmas don't intentionally play games to keep people guessing. They're not trying to be mysterious, it's just who they are. They've mastered the art of holding their cards close to their chest, and they're not about to put their hand on display just to make others comfortable. This restraint is rooted in their self-reliance. They don't feel the need to explain, justify, or seek approval because they trust themselves completely. And that's what scares people the most. Sigmas operate on a level of self-assurance that doesn't require external validation. Their mystery isn't a tactic, it's a byproduct of their independence. People can't predict them, box them in, or figure them out, and that leaves them uneasy. After all, humans fear the unknown, and nothing is more unknowable than a Sigma who's perfectly fine living in the shadows. Number 6. Their success is quiet but powerful. Sigmas have a way of winning without the need for a parade. They don't announce their goals, broadcast their hustle, or demand applause when they succeed. Their success is subtle but undeniable, the kind that speaks for itself without a megaphone. And that's where the tension begins. In a world where people measure worth by likes, applause, and public recognition, a Sigma's quiet achievements feel like a threat to those who equate loudness with importance. Their understated victories expose a harsh truth. Real power doesn't need validation. While others are busy shouting about what they're doing or pretending to do, Sigmas are simply doing it. And when their results show, it leaves people stunned. How does someone who isn't constantly in the spotlight still manage to rise above? It's unnerving for those who rely on attention to feel successful because it proves the attention itself was never the secret ingredient. What's worse for their critics is that Sigmas don't care whether anyone notices their success or not. They're not chasing trophies for the shelf or pats on the back. They're chasing purpose, fulfillment, and mastery. This quiet confidence forces people to reevaluate their own motives. Are they working for their goals or for the applause? That kind of self-reflection can be uncomfortable, and instead of facing it, some project their insecurities onto the Sigma. The beauty of it all is that Sigmas don't need to clap back or engage with the noise. They just keep building, improving, and thriving, showing the world that true success isn't about how many people see you winning. It's about how strong you stand when no one's watching. For those who rely on showmanship to feel significant, this quiet power is not just unsettling, it's a wake-up call they didn't ask for. Number 7. They don't fall for flattery or titles. Sigmas see right through the smoke and mirrors of status, titles, and hollow praise. While others might be dazzled by someone's flashy resume, follower count, or inflated ego, Sigmas remain unimpressed. They don't care if you're the CEO of a company, have millions of fans, or throw around titles like confetti. If you lack authenticity or substance, none of it matters. This indifference can feel like a slap in the face to people who've built their entire identity around external validation. For those who thrive on admiration, Sigmas are a tough audience. Flattery bounces off them like a rubber ball, and they don't play the game of superficial worship. If someone tries to impress them with charm or status alone, they'll meet a blank stare instead of the expected applause. It's not that Sigmas are rude or dismissive, they just value depth over decoration. They'd rather connect with someone's character than their accomplishments, and they're not afraid to cut through the fluff to get there. This attitude frustrates people who expect their titles or clout to command automatic respect. Sigmas don't operate on that wavelength. They respect actions, not labels. They'll notice how you treat the waiter before they care about what's on your business card. This no-nonsense approach forces people to confront the emptiness of their accolades, which is a bitter pill for anyone who's invested heavily in appearances. What's even more aggravating is that Sigmas don't need the validation they refuse to give. Their self-worth isn't tied to anyone else's status, and this independence leaves title chasers feeling powerless. In a world where so many scramble for attention and approval, Sigmas are the unshakable ones who remind everyone that respect can't be bought, faked, or forced. It has to be earned. Number 8. They refuse to play the popularity game. Sigmas don't waste a single second on the popularity game. While the rest of the world is busy trying to climb social ladders, collect likes, and fit in with the latest trends, Sigmas stand firmly outside of it all, watching the chaos from the sidelines. They don't need validation, they don't need to be the center of attention, and most importantly, they don't care if you like them or not. That refusal to play by society's rules isn't just unusual, it's downright intimidating to those who thrive on being liked. For people who are obsessed with approval, the Sigma's indifference feels like a slap in the face. They can't understand how someone could be so utterly detached from the need for validation. When others bend over backward to please or impress, the sigma remains unmoved. They might even be the one person in the room who doesn't nod along to groupthink or laugh at the latest inside joke. But here's the kicker. They're perfectly fine with it. Their confidence isn't built on being accepted or being part of the crowd. It's built on self-respect and self-reliance. This complete disregard for popularity can make sigmas seem untouchable. In a world where most people mold themselves to fit in, sigmas break the mold. They're not afraid to be alone, to stand apart, or to go against the grain. And that's what makes them so intimidating. They remind others that the only person you need to be approved by is yourself. And that's a hard pill for those who have spent their lives chasing external validation to swallow. In a culture that celebrates conformity, sigmas are rebels without a cause. They don't care about fitting in because they're too busy being themselves, and that's a power nobody can control. Number 9. They don't let emotions drive them. Sigmas are the calm in the storm, the steady hand, while everyone else is tossing their emotions around like confetti. While most people let anger, envy, or fear drive their decisions, sigmas stay anchored in logic. They don't react to drama or personal attacks in the same way others might. Instead of letting emotions dictate their next move, they assess the situation with a clear mind, always looking at the bigger picture. This makes them nearly impossible to provoke, and that's exactly what makes them a target for emotionally reactive people. For those who thrive on emotional chaos, sigmas are a puzzle they can't solve. If someone tries to push their buttons or manipulate them through guilt, jealousy, or rage, sigmas won't take the bait. Their calmness isn't a sign of weakness, it's a fortress, and that unshakable demeanor drives emotionally volatile individuals insane because it strips away the power that emotions typically give them. Without that emotional response, they're left feeling outmatched and powerless. This level-headedness also exposes the vulnerability of those who rely on emotional reactions for control. When someone can't manipulate you through anger or fear, it forces them to confront their own insecurities. Sigmas don't let emotions cloud their judgment, and that makes them seem untouchable. They're not only unaffected by the emotional outbursts of others, they're indifferent to them, which can be incredibly unsettling. In a world where most people let their feelings lead them into rash decisions, sigmas stay calm, collected, and in control of themselves. They've mastered the art of detachment, and this emotional resilience makes them a target for those who are easily controlled by their own impulses. But sigmas don't flinch. They know that true power lies in not letting emotions make the decisions. Number 10. They challenge mediocrity without saying a word. Sigmas don't need to say a word to challenge mediocrity. They do it just by being themselves. Their existence alone forces a reflection in others, often revealing just how far they've been settling for less. There's something about their energy, their quiet confidence, that acts as a mirror to everyone around them, especially those who've gotten comfortable with the status quo. For sigmas, there's no such thing as compromising for convenience or accepting what's good enough. They're naturally driven to aim higher, and that unspoken standard they set makes others feel uncomfortable when they realize they've been holding back, playing small, or simply coasting. This silent challenge stirs up resentment in those who refuse to raise their standards. They start to question why they haven't been pushing themselves harder or why they're stuck in their comfort zone. But the sigma doesn't have to say a word or even try to inspire change. They just show up with their own relentless drive and unwavering self-respect. And that alone has the power to ruffle feathers. For the ones content with mediocrity, the sigma's standard feels like a constant reminder of what they're not doing. Instead of taking it as a challenge to improve, they often feel threatened. The sigma doesn't need to call anyone out, doesn't need to push for change. They simply exist as proof that there's more to life than playing it safe. It's a quiet rebellion, and it makes those who aren't willing to level up uncomfortable with the reality of their own complacency. In the end, sigmas are a force that cannot be tamed, predicted, or easily understood. They move through the world like shadows, quiet, composed, and unbothered by the noise around them. Whether it's their refusal to play the popularity game, their unshakable calm in the face of chaos, or their ability to succeed without seeking approval, Sigmas leave a trail of unanswered questions in their wake. They don't seek validation, don't let emotions control them, and certainly don't care if you like them. This makes them not only rare, but extraordinarily powerful in a world that thrives on the opposite. What's most extraordinary about Sigmas is their ability to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about success, validation, and strength. They've found a way to thrive outside the confines of society's expectations. And that can be an uncomfortable reality for those who are still chasing approval or clinging to control. In a world full of noise, Sigmas choose silence, and it's in that silence that their true power lies. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another deep dive into the world of Sigma energy. Share it with anyone who needs a little reminder that strength doesn't always shout. It sometimes whispers. Drop a like if you agree, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Let's get the conversation started. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, my ladies. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and God bless.